Hey, what's up, guys? We're back for another weekly astrology video for the first week of December. I just did my first monthly astrology video for the month of December, and going forward, I think I'm going to do them a little differently because it was a little too similar to my weekly videos, I think. I'm going to go a little broader on each week of the month as I go, instead of breaking it down for the days individually, and I'll just leave that for each weekly video. So we've got the first week of December, which is December 1st until December 7th of 2025. Heading into the week, this week opens under the adventurous influence of Venus, freshly settled into Sagittarius as of November 30th. The shift from Scorpio into Sagittarius lightens the mood of relationships and values, encouraging honesty, openness, and a hunger for learning. And that's a Sagittarius, it's all that higher learning, and Venus would be that relationship element, of course. Meanwhile, the moon starts the week in fiery Aries before slowing down in earthy Taurus, taking it up in airy Gemini, and then retreating into sensitive Cancer by the end of the week. Along the way, we have our one real big transit this week. It's really the only major thing going on this week is our super full moon in Gemini on Thursday, which brings information to a climax, and a series of aspects weave tension and support. A Sun-Jupiter sesquiquadrate tests your optimism. Venus sextile Pluto invites depth. Mars trine Chiron promotes healing. And Mercury's trine to Jupiter on Sunday encourages understanding. Be prepared to balance independence with emotional needs as you navigate from fast-paced beginnings to cozier endings. So we start the week on Monday morning with the Sun in Sagittarius, which is forming a sesquiquadrate with Jupiter in Cancer. Sesquiquadrates signal internal tension. Your desire to explore and express yourself may bump up against feelings of duty or fear of overextending. Check your impulse to say yes to everything. Instead, identify which opportunities align with your growth and which commitments could cause burnout. A little humility paired with courage will go a long way. The moon spends most of the day in Aries on Monday, keeping your emotions direct, fiery, and action-oriented. And not even necessarily your emotions, but all emotions. You may feel impatient to get things done or to assert your independence. Move your body, tackle tasks, and lean into your instincts. Just watch out for impulsiveness. Late this evening, moon glides into Taurus, slowing the pace and inviting you to ground yourself. Suddenly, comfort, food, and financial stability will be feeling more important on Monday evening. Use the shift to take stock of resources and rest in preparation for the week ahead. So as we move into Tuesday, before dawn, Venus in Sagittarius will be forming a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. This harmonious aspect allows you to combine optimism with profound insight. You may experience meaningful conversations, increased intimacy, or revelations about your values. It's an excellent day to face topics normally considered taboo, like money, power, transformation, and find new ways to address them with honesty and with growth. Because Venus is newly in Sagittarius as of November 30th, the sextile also supports travel, education, or spiritual pursuits that deepen your sense of purpose. Throughout Tuesday, the moon remains in practical Taurus. This waxing gibbous moon encourages building and consolidating. Focus on finances, work tasks that require persistence, and nurturing your physical body. Pleasure may come from simple acts like cooking, gardening, spending time in nature, or taking care of your cherished possessions. If the previous day's Aries energy pushed you to start something new, today is about making that start sustainable. Grounding routines will ease any anxiety building towards the full moon. That's that kind of Aries to Taurus dynamic. Aries is very independent, let's go, fiery, get started, start something new. And then Taurus kind of slows that down a bit and takes it more to a steady, composed pace. Naturally, I deal with this dynamic a lot in my chart because I have a Taurus sun and then an Aries moon. So that dynamic plays off of itself a lot in my astrology. So moving into Wednesday, it's relatively quiet on the planetary front, giving you space to integrate the week's earlier lessons. With no major aspects, you may notice subtle shifts or internal reflections rather than external events. This lull is perfect for reviewing progress and planning for the upcoming full moon in Gemini. Consider what information or projects are reaching a turning point and identify what you still need to clarify. The moon continues its journey through Taurus on most of the day, emphasizing consistency and comfort. This is a good time to stay focused on routines and to indulge in your senses. This, again, that's Taurus, indulging in the senses and the pleasures of life. Taurus is a Venusian sign, so Venus. So it's very attached to those like fine clothing and silks and stuff like that. It's Taurus. It's very sensual, a very sensual sign. In the evening, the moon enters breezy Gemini. So this is getting us set up for that Gemini super new moon, super full moon. I keep calling it a new moon by accident. It's a Gemini super new, it's a super full moon. This shift from earth to air signals an increase in mental activity, curiosity, and social interaction. You may find yourself craving conversations or brainstorming ideas. Allow your mind to wander and gather information. You'll need it for tomorrow's illumination. So on Thursday, we have the super full moon in Gemini peaking at around 6:15 p.m., bringing revelations and culmination around communication, learning, and relationships. So again, Gemini is mostly that communication and learning and that quick breeziness, whereas Venus is a lot of those relationships themes that are being tied in. Well, Gemini as well. But because it's a very conversational sign, right? So of course, but let's get into it. So Thursday's full moon in Gemini occurs at 13 degrees of the sign of Gemini. This supermoon, which is the last of the year, being that it's in December, peaks at around 6:15. Full moons mark completion and illumination. In Gemini, it spotlights how you think, learn, and communicate. Expect news, realizations, or heartfelt communications to reach a climax. Because the sun is in Sagittarius, it sits opposite. You're asked to bridge details, Gemini, with the big picture perspectives, Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is that higher learning, philosophy, that adventurous path, and then Gemini would be more conversational and more of those meticulous details, right? Bridging the details. As revelations surface, look for underlying themes about beliefs versus facts, and be ready to integrate new information into your worldview. Mercury, which is the ruler of Gemini, makes a quincunx to Chiron in Aries late that night, so on Thursday night. This awkward angle could bring up uncomfortable emotions or miscommunications, especially around asserting yourself. Use the full moon's insight to recognize where you might need to heal your self-expression. Listening and empathy will go a long way under this full moon. The moon remains in Gemini all day, so mental stimulation and social interaction remain at a high. Channel nervous energy into constructive conversation and creative writing projects. And remember to ground yourself with breathing exercises if your mind begins to race. As we move into Friday, in the morning, the sun in Sagittarius squares with the North Node in Pisces. Squares create dynamic tension that push you to act. This aspect may surface questions about whether you're following your true calling or sticking with comfort out of fear. You might feel urged to make decisions aligned with long-term goals. Later in the day, Mars in Sagittarius forms a supportive trine to Chiron in Aries. This encourages courageous healing taking a stand for yourself or others can help to release old wounds. This is that Chiron because Chiron represents the wounded healer, right? Physical activity, assertive communication, or personal initiatives will feel particularly cathartic on Friday. The moon continues in chatty Gemini through the evening, then moves into Cancer at around 9 o'clock Eastern. This marks a shift from mental stimulation to emotional sensitivity. Under Gemini, you may feel social, curious, and restless. Once the moon enters Cancer, you might crave home, family, or quiet reflection. Use the evening to nurture yourself, cook a comforting meal, call a loved one, or curl up with a book. With the moon beginning to wane, focus on integrating insights from the full moon and letting go of the information overload. On Saturday morning, Mercury in Scorpio forms a flowing trine to Jupiter in Cancer. This is an uplifting aspect that enhances communication, learning, and emotional intelligence. And this is Cancer coming in a lot. So the moon rules the sign of Cancer, which is the most emotional sign or represents the most emotional sign in astrology, especially because the moon itself represents your emotions. So we're getting all of this emotional connection theme coming up now because we have Jupiter coming into play, and Jupiter is in the sign of Cancer right now for the rest of this year and the first half of next year. And again, Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So we have a lot of Sagittarius going on in the month of December. We've had Venus just go into Sagittarius. We have Mercury going back into Sagittarius. We have Mars in Sagittarius, the Sun in Sagittarius, and the new moon later in the month is in Sagittarius as well. So we have a lot of Jupiter action before everything shifts over to Capricorn, where Jupiter basically hands all that energy over to Saturn for our transit into January and 2026 there. So spend time with family or close friends on Saturday, or focus on self-care and creating a comfortable environment. Because the moon is still waning, tasks that involve clearing, releasing, or decluttering feel natural. Later tonight, Venus in Sagittarius forms a sesquiquadrate to Chiron in Aries. This minor tension can surface insecurities about being seen and loved for who you are. If vulnerability arises, remember that growth often comes from being honest about your needs. Use the Mercury-Jupiter trine's optimism to soothe any discomforts that may arise. So on Sunday, December 7th, early on Sunday, Mars in Sagittarius forms a quincunx with Jupiter in Cancer. Quincunxes require adjustment. You might feel pulled between taking bold action and staying within your comfort zones. Take time to reassess your strategies. Small tweaks may be necessary to align your ambitions with your emotional well-being. Later in the morning, Mercury in Scorpio will make a trine with Saturn in Pisces. This harmonious aspect anchors thoughts and conversations. It's excellent for planning, studying, or making long-term commitments because your mind is both pragmatic and insightful. Use it to solidify ideas gleaned from this week's full moon. The moon continues its transit through Cancer, maintaining a focus on home, family, and inner security. In the evening, Venus in Sagittarius makes a sesquiquadrate to Jupiter in Cancer. While this minor aspect is generally easy, it can prompt you to reassess how you balance freedom and comfort in your relationships or finances. You may realize you've been overindulgent or too attached. Gentle adjustments can bring harmony. Overall, Sunday invites integration. Connect the week's insights into your deeper needs and prepare to start the week from a place of emotional clarity. And you know, the thing with astrology here is these readings. This is what this is called is basically mundane astrology, is reading out for the week ahead and just basically reading the planets at hand and taking it all at face value. But each of these things is nuanced based on how it compares to your specific astrology. So what might happen on Saturday for the general population could be shifted by a day or two, or completely altered in whatever way your astrology bends to the mundane astrology at hand, right? So what you'd want to do is get your full breakdown. You could get a reading, or look into it yourself and learn about this kind of stuff. But you can get a better handle on how your specific personal placements are affected by the astrology at hand. And then, of course, that's the whole game, right? So, and I could talk more about that because I've got systems for that I use. But let's just break down the end of the week here. So by week's end, you've journeyed through a spectrum of energies, from fiery initiative in Aries through grounded presence in Taurus, lively exchange in Gemini, and ending in emotional depth in Cancer. The full moon in Gemini, the super full moon in Gemini, illuminated truths and conversations, while aspects between the Sun, Mars, and the nodes ask you to align with destiny and action. Venus's sextile to Pluto encourages deeper bonds, and Mercury's trine to Jupiter and Saturn provided an understanding and structure. As the moon waned and slipped into Cancer, the focus shifted towards home and inner security. Carry forward the clarity gained and let the softened lunar energy integrate the mental revelations into heartfelt wisdom. So that's our first week of December 1st to December 7th. It fits cleanly into a perfect week conveniently. So yeah, if you liked this breakdown, please like this video, subscribe to my channel. It really helps out a lot, and leave a comment with your thoughts. I'm going to be doing a weekly astrology video every single week, and then a monthly astrology video every single month. And considering that we're coming to the end of 2025, I guess I'm going to be doing a video for 2026, the astrology of 2026. So I'll be doing that at the end of December. So if you want to see any of that, then of course subscribe so that you always stay updated with my videos. And I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot. Take care, and see you in the next one. Cheers.